Let's talk about Trex, shall we? The decking company, products company, ticker symbol TREX, as you might imagine. Those shares are moving lower by 6%. Third quarter earnings missed estimates on both the top and the bottom line. Revenue was down 44% from a year earlier, led by a sizable decline in residential sales volumes. And this makes sense, given what we have seen, of course, in the housing market more broadly. Trex is a composite material. It's made with plastic, made with some wood. We've talked to the CEO in the past. They use plastic bags. They recycle plastic bags for some of this material. Despite that sort of, renewable kind of vibe there, if people aren't replacing their decks, then it doesn't help.
I have an affinity for Trex. I helped my dad build his Trex deck, and it was a fun experience. But it is a cool product. I mean, you really don't have to clean it. It doesn't necessarily get dirty. It is cool stuff. But I did have to do a double take looking at these results, make sure I wasn't missing anything. So sales, 188 million in this quarter. They were 336 million last year. So sales fell off a cliff. Guidance, not good. And I go back to, I think it was 2 weeks ago, to Generac, a poor quarter from Generac, warning about inventory. Here's another building product supplier with not a good quarter. I'll even add Whirlpool in there as well. Not a good quarter from these companies. I'm starting to get concerned about a Home Depot and Lowe's. I'm going to have a little more on Home Depot in just a minute, but still not a good quarter from Trex.
Rising expenses also hitting the company here, and that at a time where you had pointed out some of the revenue issues there. And so particularly here for Trex, it's been a dismal year. I mean, the company is down in the stock price, at least to the tune of about 66%. And the larger question, too, of where you start to regenerate some of that demand for decking, for railing, all of the other kind of recycled materials that are being used. And I'll, give them a pat on the back for that because, hey, sustainability. But at the end of the day, too, it's with a larger market right now that is seeing perhaps that slowdown, not just in new home starts or home purchases, but also the number of people that are taking on those DIY projects, perhaps starting to wane a little bit. That's something where it would directly impact Trex as well.
Did you realize that they sold cornhole?
I did not.
I did not. That is the high-class cornhole,
bullish cornhole
apparatuses that they're selling. Much better than the one that Dave Briggs has his desk upstairs. A little raggedy. I'm sorry, Dave Briggs. It's a little raggedy.
So one other thing I was going to say is whether you're talking about Trex or about Generac, which, by the way, is another one of the worst performers in the S&P this year, we talked in advance of this quarter, in advance of the past couple of quarters, about the pull-forward effect because of the pandemic. We talked about it, and we talked about it, and we talked about it. And yet, now that it is really here and in evidence, it just feels much worse even than was anticipated, or we're somehow caught off guard, even though we have talked about it so much. Everybody did their decks already. You can't do the deck twice. Everybody bought their generators already. They don't need another one, right? And that is happening with so many different areas, and we continue to see that in these earnings numbers.